How's it going, super friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek, and for those of you who watch the Infinite Hour live stream with myself, Ahsoka the Geek, and Rob D Toys, you'll know that I was invited to go to an early screening of The Flash by the good folks at Warner Brothers, and as fantastic as it was, I haven't had the chance to do a review of the movie yet. Well, now I'm kind of wedging one into my schedule because I know the movie comes out June 16th and it is currently the 7th. And part of the reason why I was invited to go, along with all of the other super fans and or influencers on YouTube, to see this early screening is because we're here to help build hype for the movie. We are here to tell you what we thought about the movie. Hopefully we enjoyed it, and because they're assuming that we're super fans, we likely will, we're here to help build hype to get you to buy tickets. Lucky for you, I actually really did enjoy the movie. I had a great time at this film, and I know that most of you watching this video will probably enjoy the movie too, because it has a lot to offer and it covers a lot of bases. So the film basically has three acts. We have Act 1, which takes place in Barry's universe that he currently exists in, like his universe, his timeline, and that's a really interesting opening scene, and in my opinion, it had no business being that good. The action sequence was actually really well done, as well as there was a Speed Force sequence with Barry, and that was absolutely fantastic. There are some people who in their reviews have mentioned they thought that possibly the CGI in the beginning and really all through the movie, looked kind of crappy. But I want to point out that when we watched our pre-screening of the movie, we were informed that the CGI actually wasn't finished yet. It will be finished, but we saw a version of the movie which was as of yet unfinished. Not only did it have CGI that was as of yet, not done, but there were no end credits and there were no end credit scenes, both of which will be included in the final theatrical cut. And there may be edits here and there also before the theatrical release. So we saw a version of the movie that they stated up front the CGI was not yet finished. So I want everyone to know that going forward. If you hear anybody else's reviews of this movie, if they say the CGI looked bad, that's because it wasn't done yet. I promise you it will look different in the movie theater at the time of release. But yeah, the beginning of the movie really had no business being that fun, and it was really nice that we got to witness where the Flash is in his current universe, where he stands in the Justice League. We got a little bit of information about the new suit. It was really interesting. Of course, we all know that Ben Affleck is in the movie, and he reprises his role as that universe's Batman for more than just a tiny cameo. His version of Batman is actually in the movie more than I thought he would be. And there may or may not be another or a few other cameos in that portion of the movie. You have to wait and see. But I really enjoyed that first part of the movie. And then we get on to the second part of the movie, which is him contending with the reality he is now currently in that has another him in it. I'm trying so hard not to give you spoilers. And it's fantastic to see Barry, or really, Ezra totally kills it with this role. He manages to play an older, wiser, been there, done that, gone through some stuff, Barry Allen. And really, even if he wasn't the Flash, just the death of his the death of his mom, and then his father going to jail, going to prison, wrongly accused of it, that changes him significantly as a person. Well, obviously, the Barry that, he runs into, the second Barry, because we all know the basic points of the movie, he's never experienced those things because his mother is still alive, therefore his dad is not in jail, accused of murdering her. So this Barry has grown up completely different, completely carefree, and for all intents and purposes, likely would not end up ever having the powers. He's just a universe where there would have been no Flash at all. So for Barry, essentially to grow up and have his parents, you end up with a world that has no Flash. And arguably, it's probably a good thing that there is a Flash, considering if the Flash wasn't around during the time of Darkseid and Steppenwolf mucking about on Earth in Justice League, things may have turned out differently. So I suppose for the greater good, it is better that his mom died. That sounds so bad saying. So being that we know this, I will tell you that this movie very largely deals with loss and then dealing with grief and then also acceptance. Acceptance is all over this movie, and it is handled really nicely. There are moments when Ezra Miller as Barry, or Barry, and both, will actually make you laugh out loud sometimes too. The comedy is really actually well executed, although this is not a comedy movie. The comedy is really well executed. And then there are moments where I guarantee you will feel at the very least sad. If you don't feel sad, you haven't got a soul. Personally, my wife cried, and I may have gotten just a little bit, puffy-eyed. But no tears came out. 'Cause I'm a man. And men don't cry. No, that's not true. My wife is just more emotional than I am. But I guarantee there were many, many not dry eyes in the theater at certain points in this movie because they were really, really well done. Of course, we have the privilege of seeing Michael Keaton take up the cape and cowl again as his version of the Batman, which started with the 89 Tim Burton movie and was continued with the 1992 Batman Returns movie. He does a fantastic job in this role. I would even argue that in the way that some people were just like born to play pianos, or some people were just prodigies at this or that, maybe they're good at math or playing guitar or singing, he was born to play Batman. And I will take that statement to my grave. Michael Keaton jumped right back into the role as if he had never left it. And partially, that's just how good Michael Keaton is. Michael Keaton really is one of the greats, and a lot of people maybe don't realize that, but go back and watch his full library. Michael Keaton is one of the greats. Absolutely. On top of that, he is just very good at that version of Batman. It is many people's definitive version, so if you're looking for that, you will find it in this movie. Is he 70 currently? Yes. Will that really be something you think about in the movie? Well, a little bit when you're watching it, but that kind of makes it cooler because he sort of takes on the role kind of just a little bit as Flashpoint Batman, but not really. I guess he's just the older father figure Batman in comparison. He's not bitter or any of that. Anyway, the point, I don't want to give you spoilers. The point is, Michael Keaton is fantastic. The suit looks great on film. That Batwing, that is a chef's kiss. Batwing. It is beautiful, and it has a feature that none of the collectible Batwing toys that I've seen yet have, and I didn't really know it had. I'm not going to say anything in case you don't know either, but when you see it, the first time I saw it, I was like, woo-hoo-hoo! I can't believe it. I was losing my mind. It was fantastic to see that they incorporated that in there, because remember, Batman doesn't like flying, and ever since this was put in the Batwing, this one specific feature, I don't recall him mentioning that he doesn't like flying. Do you get to see the Batmobile? Yes. Do you get to see a lot of the Batcave? Yes again. Is this a fantastic way to give Michael Keaton his Batman send-off? Absolutely. This was a genius idea, and even if people don't want to see The Flash, they're probably going to go see this movie because Keaton Batman is in it. We have Sasha Calle as Supergirl, and it's really neat, without completely wrecking it. It is very neat to see how, although this is not technically a Flashpoint story, it still kind of is the Flashpoint story. Like, it follows a few of the beats, but it also largely marches to the beat of its own drum. Her version of Supergirl, her version of Kara, because it is Kara, her version of Kara, it basically has gone through the same thing that the Flashpoint Kal-El went through. So you have to imagine that this version of the character, not being raised by anyone in Kansas or not being, greeted by her cousin who is full grown because their rocket ships got separated, and then learning about Earthlings and humans and how to be a superhero, you have to imagine that this version of Kara, who has only ever been, as you can see from the trailer, I'm not spoiling anything, when you look at the trailer, you can tell she's only ever been incarcerated. For her to still come out on top as someone who is a good person, or a good Kryptonian, I suppose we would say, is amazing. And Sasha Calle does a great job of being completely Kryptonian and unhuman, and she still does the right thing in the end. And again, that shouldn't be a spoiler because we all read Flashpoint, and clearly she's depicted as a hero in the movie, so it's, she's not a villain, so she's clearly a hero. So if you at this point are wondering whether or not The Flash is worth the price of admission, it's worth the cost of a movie ticket rather than just waiting for it to arrive on streaming somewhere, I would say, honestly, go watch the movie. And this has nothing to do with being a shill. If I didn't like it, I would tell you. And I just wouldn't get invited by Warner Brothers to go and see any other movies. But I genuinely really liked this movie. I liked it a lot. And as a side note, there is a scene in the Batwing involving one of the Flashes and a certain bat suit that is absolutely hilarious. It is one of the best suits. And it also, this movie, as a final note, if you're hoping that this movie does pay homage to the DC Universe, film and television as a whole, you will not be disappointed. This movie does a fantastic job honoring what came before and setting us up for what is to come in the future. Seriously, if you're wondering if it's whether going to the theater to watch this, spending the money, or staying home, if you're wondering which one you should do, seriously, go see it. This is one of those movies that you need to see on the big screen because some of the scenes are larger than life and you're not going to get the same effect watching it on your telly. Anyway, that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you with the next one.